Mabuhay, Kamustika, welcome. How are you? This is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea. It's Monday night, and we're able to pick my favorite night to do a live stream tonight. I hope that some of you will join me here tonight. The topic, and again, we can talk about different things, but kind of the main conversation starter will be what is what do you consider wife material? Wife material, what do you consider that? Is it different when you're dating somebody versus you're looking to marry somebody? What are the differences in the qualities of that person? So what do you consider wife material? And kind of another subtopic we can have would be how, excuse me, bad cough. When I get a cough, it can be bad for a long time. So just have to let you know. Well, my last cough lasted 14 months, and I'm trying different things to avoid that happening this time. I don't know if that's going to happen. So another kind of subtopic tonight would be, how do you know that your Filipino wife loves you? So what do you consider wife material? If you want to talk about how do you know that she loves you? Phil's the Phoenix. Hi, John. How are you? Glad to see you here this Monday evening. And just a couple of things to talk about. What do you consider wife material? How do you know that your Filipina loves you? Now, I was watching a video by Pete from All About the Philippines. He said some excellent topics lately on relationships, so we kind of have a kindred spirit there. And he had a upload on signs that your Filipina loves you, and I think I have a video about that coming up. I just haven't taped it, so I thought, well, that's a really good topic, so I want to mention that tonight as something else people could talk about. Now, we can talk about anything else if you want to. Thanks for the thumbs up. But that's just kind of the conversation starter for today. Had a lot of, not a lot of trolls, but just had a couple of trolls stop by the last upload. And so if anybody gets out of hand tonight, Phil's the Phoenix will be able to wield his wrench and keep things in line. Don't know how long we'll go tonight. It's kind of chilly in here right now. I don't mind saying that the channel has been falling on hard times lately, and it's just something that I guess as part of having a YouTube channel, you have to pick yourself up by the bootstraps and keep going. Try to find ways to make it better, but we have to save on expenses here at Love Beyond the Sea. So until we can get some more subs rolling in, and we'll just have to turn the heat down lower. We'll have to turn the electricity down. As you can see, I don't have the lights on. I have one light way over there, kind of questioning whether I should keep that on or not. In fact, my phone produces some light, but not really enough to light up the room or anything like that. But and it's kind of cold. You might hear my teeth chattering once in a while tonight. And but we want to keep going. We just have to pull out all the stops sometimes. So it's just the way it is. Hopefully just a bump in the road and we get the channel going in a positive direction. But until then, we just have to do some things to keep the lights on here at Love Beyond the Sea, keep the business going. At the top of the live chat there, just the three links I usually have. The one, appreciate the thumbs up, by the way. The one is from my WordPress.com site. Mr. E put together this site I think everyone would be envy about. He did a great job. It's got a message board on there. That's a link to the community corner is below that. We'll keep that up there, and hopefully people can take to that one day. Lifestyle lounge, relationship lounge, and direct messaging. In fact, you can even call people there. You can do video camming there, and you got my Twitter site, Facebook, my wife's channel, some commentary from Mr. E, ways to contact us, kind of all in one place type of blog. Very proud of that. And Mr. E, whoever the gentleman is, did a great job of putting that together. And so tonight, live stream. I want this to be driven by you out there. I know sometimes no one shows up for about 10 minutes or so. And I do have a link there for the newsletter. I know with notifications, I don't even know when people's videos come out or live streams, because if you have a lot of people that you subscribe to, you just can't keep track of it all. So if you don't want to miss when the live stream starts, I have a link for a newsletter. You can sign up there, and I'll send it to you in your email, so can't miss it. If you check your email, it'll have the most recent video. It'll have a classic video. It'll have the upcoming date and time and topic for the upcoming live stream, and a few statistics. And even if they're down, I'm still gonna, not gonna shy away from that. The Philippines, when we were there, was fantastic for vacation. For it was about 23 days, including travel, and I can tell you the views, the subs, the watch minutes were greatly up by probably 3 times what it is now. So I knew that it would go down, and when we got back to the States, I just didn't think it would go down so hard and crash. Thank you, whomever that was, for the thumbs up. Yeah, Big E, welcome, Big E, to the show tonight. What do you consider wife material? We can also talk about, how do you know that your Filipino loves you? Hopefully, I have my thoughts. I jotted down a few things. I didn't spend a whole lot of time on it, but I can jot down some of your comments if I can see here in the dark, and use it for an upload. And Big E, if you just got here, time's been tough. I haven't, the sub count has not increased for 9 days in a row. And I've only had, one sub here in the last 11 days. So because of that, we have to make some changes here to keep the lights on at Love Beyond the Sea. So I'm trying to save money, turn the electricity down, try to watch the lights, the heat. That's why I'm wearing a cap here, because it's cold, and I would wear gloves, except it's really hard to operate the mouse when you have gloves on. So we're not going to be doing that. But actually, Big E, in the last 11 days, I've had at least 2 live streams and probably 3 uploads. So pretty much the same type of amount of content coming out. And, it's just, it's been kind of stagnant, and that's life, I guess, for a small YouTube channel. That's how it is. But, we don't want to cut any staff here. We don't want to do that. We don't want to reduce anybody's hours. So I'll take the brunt of this, and we'll just have the temperature down here. And, I may have to run up later and put on a coat. I don't know, but we'll see. Maybe I can get through this. But that's the topic, and I've got some ideas, but really, I can put out my thoughts. I might list a few just to keep it going. Now, just off the top of my head, this morning when I got up on my phone, there was a tweet about, maybe you guys can tell me what this is all about. And it was about a woman was in the picture, and apparently she was going to be making history with the New York Yankees. Parabiology 101, good to see you here tonight. You guys know what that's all about? Woman about to make history, I guess, with Major League Baseball and something to do with the Yankees. My guess is, since it's February the 17th, that it has something to do with a woman maybe making the first appearance ever for a woman in a spring training game for Major League Baseball. That could be. I think that's, thank you for the thumbs up. That's probably what it's all about. Let me know if I'm wrong, but that is, I know that's not politically correct, but I, I only say that because it kind of fits in. Thanks for the thumbs up. With the topic, what do you consider wife material? I don't want to come off as being, judgmental or anything, but hitting coach. Whew, you saved me some trouble there. Big E in Cebu says first female hitting coach in Major League history. Now I'm more confused. I thought maybe it was a pitcher. I'm thinking a woman, Major League Baseball. Women are weaker than men. She'd have a hard time. Thanks for the thumbs up. She'd have a hard time keeping up with the guys' velocity these days. As they guys come in throwing 102, 103 miles an hour, and all kinds of breaking pitches. But yeah, first female hitting coach. Why would the storied, fabled New York Yankees need a female hitting coach? I mean, surely they don't need attendance, right? I mean, I don't follow baseball that much. My Kansas City Royals have, they got in the World Series once, they won once over about the last 30 years. So I don't follow it that much. Big E says because they would want the best qualified coach. Now, you're saying that tongue in cheek, Big E, are you not? Regardless of gender, you come inside the bed. Okay, it's warm here. I turned on the heater. Yeah, well, hon, it might not be. Maybe we won't go too long because I don't want to get too cold out here. Appreciate the thumbs up, everyone. Regardless of gender. Well, I just think there's probably a lot of former Hall of Fame players, people that weren't Hall of Famers or All-Stars that could be good hitting coaches. But if that's the case, I'm really surprised. I hired more than 60% of my workforce females. We're talking hitting coach of the New York Yankees, or is this just a trial? Spring training trial. It's got to be something like that. There's no way a woman would be a hitting coach in Major League Baseball because, well, I don't think the players would respect her because how many women have hit a baseball before in the history of the Major League? So I must be dreaming. I cannot. I can't imagine that's more than just spring training. They seek them out as much as possible in mostly male-dominated workforce. And Big E, I'm not 100% sure what your workforce is. See, I'm already getting sick here in the cold room, but you can mention that. Best to hire the most qualified candidate. Well, we're talking. The thing is, though, Parabiology 101. We talk about baseball, male-dominated sport. Personally, I don't like the women in the locker rooms. I don't think they belong there in male sport because I don't think I should have to explain that. But I think it should be self-explanatory. But that's just something interesting that caught my eye. I didn't read the article, but I'm sure I'll be hearing more about that. Just on Twitter. So what I wanted to talk about was what do you consider wife material? We talk about looking for a good Filipina. Well, what kind of qualities stand out to you as being not someone you just want to date, but someone you want to marry. You might want to date somebody, but would never think about marrying them, for example. Engineering field, chemical and mechanical. It's mostly male world. We have terrific females working for us, and they are by far more loyal to the company. Well, that makes sense. In a hitting coach, I just have a hard time believing that, because how is she going to hit? I don't think a woman could survive trying to make a living hitting major league pitching as good as they are. I just can't imagine the reflexes would be good enough, the strength would be good enough, speed would be good enough. I just that's why I read that, and I thought pitching, playing, I just don't believe that, and I have a hard time believing a hitting coach too, unless it's just for spring training and maybe is for publicity. I don't know. I mean, Garth Brooks was playing for the San Diego Padres. You might be familiar with that, Big E, since you're from California. Maybe not at that time, but he's made more than one, I think, spring training appearance. Garth Brooks, believe it or not. Chick Hearn, Vin Scully were the two best announcers of all time in basketball and baseball, but they were not players. Well, yeah, but they weren't. And there are some coaches, I think, in college sports that did not play the game at the big time college level, but at least they have a much better understanding of the game. Okay, but you can be a great teacher or something about playing, but how do you get respect from the male players? Um, I would think personally they probably wouldn't listen to her. That's just what I think they would want to do, is just ignore her. And but again, um, that would be shocking to me. Maybe just for spring training, but then I don't believe that. Why would you do it for spring training? Do they not have a full-time hitting coach for spring training and 162 game season and the playoffs? I don't know. I don't know much about it. Just what I happened to see there. So, but yeah, Chick Hearn, Vin Scully. Vin Scully was my favorite. I mean, what a poet behind the microphone. Vin Scully was the best, I think. I wanted to be a sportscaster, and I certainly appreciated the way he announced the game. But he didn't have to play the game. He didn't really have to have any knowledge of the game, because he had a color commentator who probably did play the game. All Vin Scully had to do was colorfully describe the game and fill in between all the pitches. Baseball is a very difficult game to announce if you're going to be an announcer, because the play stops. I mean, in a 2.5 hour baseball game, there might be 7 or 8 minutes of actual play. The rest you're just filling in. At least I heard that somewhere, and I know it's a very small percentage of the time they're actually playing. The Big E says the same way you do any other field, if the team batting average goes up by 20 points, well, they will listen. Well, but how much would that be attributed to a female hitting coach? I mean, I would be shocked, because yeah, they haven't played in the highest level of baseball. They may have played in college, but college they have softball, right? Softball comes in underhand. It's different. It's not easy to hit. I couldn't hit a underhand softball, and might even be coming in faster for the shorter distance than a baseball would. But I don't know. That seems very unusual. But most likely, sad to say, it's probably political tokenism. Well, it's very unusual, and it is spring training. Spring training is a time to experiment. Maybe I don't know. They're the New York Yankees. They don't need to. They're the most storied program or sports probably franchise of all the sports franchises. Just to appease the feminists, that could be. Vin was the best ever in baseball, and Chick Hearn with the Lakers, and both of them probably broadcast for a long, long time. Is that right, Big E? I know um, Vin Scully. He must have been close to 60 years behind the mic. He might have been 20 years old or so, 20, 21, 22 when he started. But and his idol was the guy that he learned from was Red Barber, right? And then Chick Hearn. Vin had no color commentator. Um, Probably didn't need to. I mean, that's really impressive. Big E says, growing up with Vin in LA, he didn't have color commentators. He did on network shows, okay, but not the Dodger broadcast. Started in Brooklyn. Yeah, Red Barber. Uh, I think I heard an old tape of Red Barber one time, and I think Scully probably was influenced a lot by Red Barber. So you guys, as far as tonight, I'm just going to start listing some. Um, yeah, Red was good. He was no Vin. Vin was something else. You know, he wasn't a screamer. Some guys today, they scream and they get they get overly excited. You know, it's a bunt single is like a grand slam home run. And I have my thoughts on announcing because I listen to announcers extremely carefully. And you know, I liked guys that were very descriptive and colorful. You just close your eyes, listen to the game, and you know everything you can just see in your mind. Um, what they how they described it, and you know, yeah, he was a real good one. As far as what do I consider wife material, well, one thing would be I'll throw out there. I hope you guys add some things in case you're not sure what to say. For example, frugal. I like frugality. I'm not talking about cheapness, but a woman that is frugal. If I get that idea that she's frugal, that's a plus. That's something I would be attracted to. However, I'm not talking about miserly. If you're dating someone and you find out, well, I don't think they want to have a lot of fun because they don't want to spend money on fun. They just want to, they're too serious. They're almost penny pinchers and miserly. I don't think that's a good thing either. But if I get an idea that a woman's got a good sense financially and she doesn't want to waste money and she's frugal, I think that's that's something I would say, well, you know, maybe that's a quality of somebody that would be considered wife material. Frugality, cheap Charlie. And what I mean by frugal, I'm trying to explain it, is not unnecessarily over the top cheap. Um, in other words, something to extremes. Now that reminds me of the controversy from the chicken wings video I did. That Tim Tom did a video on, and you know, just to clear the air. Thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate that tonight. This cold night inside here as we're trying to save money here since the sub count hasn't been up for a while. The chicken wing, my wife was merely letting me know that I was leaving too much meat on the bones of these chicken wings. And so, I mean, they were so delicious. I would eat one, put that down, get another one. I couldn't wait to eat the next one. And she says, "Hon, you're leaving too much meat on the bones. You know, we don't want to waste food." So I said, "Okay, you're right. I am not cleaning the bones." So I continued to do that. Thought nothing of it. Next thing you know, video is being done, and my wife is nagging. No, she wasn't nagging. She wasn't even, you couldn't even see her in the video. She was right there. And I was doing it on how wonderful the chicken wings were. But I think it's important that your Filipina wife is not going to be into wasting food. like we might hear in the States, if you scoop off way more than you really need, you get full, you ate too fast, instead of putting it back in the Tupperware or something in the refrigerator, you just scoop it in the garbage. And that's a big no-no, married to a Filipina. So that's all that was about. Nothing scandalous, just she wanted me to know that I shouldn't be so careless with the meat. And I had a lot of chicken wings and left too much meat on. So I think it's important that a woman be able to speak her, uh, share her thoughts with her husband without being afraid that he's going to jump all over her. Don't tell me what to do. Well, it's harmless, and if you don't listen to your wife, Filipina or otherwise, pardon me, then well, that's just not good. Yeah, you spent most of your life in LA. You heard a lot of Vin Scully. That's about all you can remember from the time you were young. Um, yeah, frugality is good as long as it's not over the top. Topic here, I know we have 8 people here tonight. What is your, excuse me, it's so dark in here, I can't even read my notes. What do you consider wife material? And if you want to talk about this too, how do you know that your wife loves you? Because all about the Philippines, fine channel. He's in Australia. Pete did a video on that. It was an upload. And I thought, well, I have a video like that coming out. Let's just roll it into this one, if you will. So frugal is good. Um, Now, I did relax here now, everybody. I did jot down in no particular order submissive. And I know that's a 4-letter word in today's society, and that's unfortunate. Um, if you did not see in a woman while you're dating her, if you think you're going to be fighting all the time, she's not going to let you take the lead. One of the ways a wife, I think, can respect her husband is to let him lead. Let him do his job, let him, do what he needs to do to protect her and to make good decisions. And, sometimes he's not going to make the best decisions, but, if he doesn't get uh, a tongue lashing for it, and then he's going to want to be better. And, men, we want to take good care of our wives. Um, and so, somehow, how do you go about noticing this, that somebody is going to be a submissive of wife before you marry her? I guess you just have to see. I mean, you're arguing all the time about everything, where you're going to go, what a near future plan will be. Um, that if she can be, and I'm not talking, again, no extremes here. I'm not talking about a doormat, because she should be able to say, well, hon, here's what I think about this. Or, hon, yeah, I can see that, but what about this? It doesn't mean she's, arguing with you. It just means she says, well, maybe we ought to think about this, because women see things differently. And I think if she's going to be your helper someday, it would be wise to listen to what she has to say. But ultimately, I think it's best if, when the time, if it's necessary, that she defer to her husband when it's really something serious. Most of the time, I think you should defer to your wife. But if there's anything you just can't go with, can't sleep on, it's not right, then she needs to be able to say, okay, we'll do it your way, and that's that. Um, I think that would be ideal. Big E says that's a tough one, Bob. I think the big one there is the man has to keep realistic and understand some of their motivation for wanting men from outside the Philippines. Okay, now you're probably talking still about the frugality. Um, and yeah, that's true. I mean, I've said this, Big E, in the videos. I know you just got done watching 400 of my videos all at once, and so I know that what I'm saying is true. Um, you've heard me say that um, she's going to want to earn her own money, and with her some of her own money, she deserves to buy some nice things, nice shoes, nice purses, watch, watches, accessories. I personally, this is me because it's my channel, I see no reason um, to, tell her, huh, no, you can't do this. It's her. Well, again, you've also heard me say, Big E, that it's their money. I get a paycheck, and my wife gets a paycheck, but in essence, I consider it our money. But I certainly think it's appropriate and right that she spend some of the money that she made, which is our money, on things that makes her happy. Um, Now, here in unlike California, where Big E is from, we here in the Midwest have 4 seasons. So a woman's going to want clothes for winter, spring, summer, fall. She's going to want to have shoes for all that. Who knows? And that's fine. Okay. I'm not going to be a cheap husband because I don't think that's a good idea. I think I have to trust my wife to be reasonable and give her the opportunity to learn how to be responsible. And if she wants to buy some of these things, that's perfectly all right. So, Big E, as long as the man isn't pie in the sky thinking it's like a high school romance, both need to be practical, and love can grow. And love can grow. This is why also, Big E, I define love the biblical way, which is 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 8. Any video I've done on love, it's all based on breaking down parts of that. It starts out, love is patient, love is kind, and it bears all things, believes all things, endures all things. It's tough. It grows, and I hate people that say, "Oh, I'm so in love. This got to be, Miss Perfect. It's got to be the right one. It's going to work out." Well, to me, that's probably infatuation. Love is something I have to do year after year after year, situation after situation after situation, whatever comes my way. And it can grow, and it grows by treating her a certain way. And I think then, cultivating it, and then the love can grow. So yeah, it all goes back to character. Character is part of this. What do you consider wife material? You say, well, I want someone with character. What does that mean? If you're talking about being serious about a woman, any country, you want character, because without that, you're in trouble. I know when you're young, it's all about looks, right? It's all about physical appearance. When you get older, wiser, you realize that character matters. And also, the physical appearance changes over time. The character changes too, but it should get more beautiful over time. While the physical beauty, of course, it's vain. In other words, it doesn't last. Parabiology 101, thanks for being here tonight. Parabiology and caring, thinks of others before herself. Yes, I have that. Thinks of us. It's down on my list. Very true. In fact, you guys, if you have Filipina girlfriends, fiancés, or wives, let me know what attracted you to them. They were obviously wife material to you. What was it that made you say, I can live with this? This is not going to be a problem. So I agree. Thinks of herself. In fact, one of the things, Parabiology 101, that was said about my wife when I went to marry her, talking to some of her friends, was that she would give you talking about as a friend, she would give you the shirt off her back. In other words, if you needed something, she would not think of herself. She would do everything she could to help a friend. And And so that's thinking of others. That's certainly a good quality. I just had this thought, one day at work about, let's see, I've been there almost 40 years this year. Probably 30 some years ago, I was just a young kid, and a guy at work literally gave me the shirt off his back. Now, I don't think he was wearing it, but it was in his locker. And he had a locker next to mine. I said, "Wow, that's a pretty nice shirt you got there." And he said, "You want it? You can have it." So he gave it to me. I don't remember if I wore it a lot or not, but maybe he was having a bad day, and maybe he just got fired. I don't know, but he gave it to me. But yeah, Aiza is very caring and unselfish, and she wants to help others. And if you see that quality in a woman, um, then that's a beautiful thing. And I would certainly want to consider someone like that. So I appreciate the comment. Hank Hilliam, I got hit hard by the trolls. Yeah, Hank. Saturday I released a video called "I'm a simp." What? Huh? For marrying a Filipina? Um, yeah, just outrageous accusations about me being a simp. And I thought about reporting this to YouTube, but then I thought better of it. Didn't want to get anybody in trouble, but just ludicrous thoughts. It was a drive-by trolling, and I did have to go to the insurance company and look into the deductible and all that. But we got that taken care of. It wasn't too bad. Actually, I did have to block a couple, and the bad thing about that was I didn't know it was going to take their comments away. I deleted some comments because they were getting lewd, and I thought it might leave the rest of them up there, but I think it took off all of their comments, which I was disappointed at because I wanted everybody to see some of them. Thank you very much for 8 thumbs up. I appreciate that on this cold evening inside here because I haven't been getting many subscribers. I have to turn down electricity and kind of be frugal here for a while. Yeah, been more active lately. $3.99. Okay, now you're up to 400, Big E. So I really appreciate that. Just make sure you put something in your eyes, because to get the red out, they're going to be watching that many videos. Yeah, that's. But some of the comments were, I think, again, controversial. But not all trolls' comments are insane or something. I mean, I know they're trying to make a point. I think they could do a better job of the way they go about making the point. But you'd have to go back and watch that upload from Saturday about the simp and parabiology. You had a good comment. The wife I married is a very quality wife. She has character. She is wife material. That's probably why I married her so quickly. I wasn't desperate to get the attention and affection of a woman. She's the goods. She's very high quality, and she has many of these qualities here that I jotted down. If you guys want to toss out some qualities, what do you consider wife material? Big E says, because you are different, Bob. You did it the right way, and that's why your show is so good. I appreciate that, Big E, especially on days like this. I've got, foot warmers on. I should be wearing gloves. It's cold. My glasses may start fogging up here. But we're going to keep pressing on because thanks for the thumbs up. That's all I know to do here. I got lots of videos to put out, and I want to be different. I mean, I want to be me. I just want to, I'm not trying to copy anybody. So, some of the things I say won't resonate with everyone. But they talk about, well, it's foolish. You're a simp to be buying a house for your wife. Well, it's a house for me too, and it's not her fault. The law says I can't own the land. I mean, that's blame Duterte, blame everybody before him, but that's not my wife's fault. And if we're going to be living there, and I think it's a good opportunity, then I will join many others who have done the same thing. I don't know. You could say that takes some risk, but marriage is a risk. And there are risks with marrying a Filipina. I did a live stream on that a while back. And you might want to check one of those 55 or so live streams I've done. It's in there. There is risk. And that's just life. I mean, that's just the way it is. And thanks for Biology 101. I appreciate your support on that one. Yeah, I just want to share what I can, what I've learned, and I hope in 10 or 20, 30 years, I'm more experienced and wiser than I am now. I don't want to wait till I'm 80 years old to start my YouTube channel, though, because then I might die on the air, and we don't want that to happen either. Hank says, I think it does no good reporting to YouTube. They seem to take no action on channels that currently preach hate. And I suppose, Hank, they get a lot of that, and maybe they just don't have the manpower to handle all that. Hank says, like this guy, my Philippines interest lives on Batayan. People have been reporting him for years. He just hates on other YouTubers, says vile things. Well, I actually like Frank, and he did change his channel to My Philippines Experience when he was in Hawaii, known as The Chair. I watched his videos, and I thought his channel was good enough for me to watch, when he was in Hawaii, and went to the Philippines, where he's been for 3-4 years, and just overridden by trolls. And he had a video today. I listened to it on the way to work, where he's saying, really, truly, this is it. No more videos. Talked it over with my wife. No more videos. Maybe a cameo appearance once in a while. Not fun anymore. And I can see where a guy can say that. If you're serious about your channel, you want it to do well, you want it to be a good experience, you don't want to be dealing with trolls all the time. Excuse me. I think it's sad that happened. But to be fair, Hank, Frank was the object of a lot of trolling and a lot of negative comments. I found him to be honest. I thought his channel had a lot of potential, but I think it got derailed, unfortunately, with all of those trolls. But I liked Frank's channel. I think he got too much heat for the tree video. I thought that was unnecessary, but that's usually what the trolls do, and take something and blow it out of proportion. Hank says, you like the dark background today? Well, for those of you that say, well, get tired of looking at the same thing, well, now you're looking at something different. I don't have 1,000 subscribers, so I cannot take out my phone and go somewhere. So yeah, it's just a little chilly in here. I haven't had the subscriber count hasn't gone up in 9 days, only one in the last 11. So we just have to make some changes here to keep things going. That's why it's darker. That's why I'm wearing a hat to keep warm. I have to rub my hands. Got some hot coffee here. Literally get your, oh no, I speak very facetiously now and then, Big E. So it was in reference to drive-by trolling, So I just took it to the insurance and paid the deductibles and all that. Sometimes my humor, my wife doesn't understand it, and maybe you guys won't understand it. So yeah, I'm not always serious all the time. But um, oh yeah, well, the videos will still be up. Um, Big E is well familiar with Frank. Did a very nice video recently on him. Big E gives credit where credit is due, and I think that's a good quality to have. Uh, Hank says, once you know the history of him, Bob, you may reconsider your thoughts on him. On him, he spins things and plays the victim. Well, and I have to admit, Hank, I'm not privy to everything, so I just know there was a lot of going back and forth with the trolls, and what a big headache. So yeah, I don't know everything about Frank. You're right, but I do admit to listening to his channel. Hank says, anyway, personally, I unsubbed from him a long time ago, but just see clips of him passed around from time to time. Needless to say, it seems he has the uh, he's the same as he ever was. Well, and sometimes, it depends on Hank who is sending those clips. If it's his antagonists, then they will pick out certain ones and say certain things, and you just who do you trust? How do you know if you can trust someone? Hank says, but if you watch him, I respect that. I'm not about guilt by association like some guys are. Look, I admit to watching and liking some videos by Hoodwinked by an Angel, Fazio. Before he was in the Philippines, and so he was always kind of nutty. But I watched his channel. I thought they were humorous and you know kind of eccentric and bizarre, but that's his appeal. But then I think when he got bigger and got monetized, things changed, and again, the channel wasn't quite the same. Yeah, Parabiology 101. His videos will be up there. Um, I try to be pretty non-judgmental when I watch channels. If there's something I like, then I like it. Um, it doesn't have to be someone that um, the majority of people are watching or popular channels are watching. Just watch it for, well, people watch YouTube videos for three reasons: entertainment, information, education. And that's kind of like information. Was there one more? I know it's entertainment, information, education, and by and large, that's probably it. Um, in my case, it's education. That's why it's not a personal blog. It's listed as education. Let me continue here with some things I consider wife material. I mean, I'm all about helping people find a wife, Filipina, like I did. How about hardworking? If I see a woman, if I was dating someone that still was hardworking, I would think, well, that's wife material. My wife was hardworking. She was a teacher for a while at the time when I met her, and it takes a lot of patience. And teacher for special needs children, and it takes a lot of patience, which is another good wife material quality to have, to be patient. And I'm going to write that down there in case I do an upload. You guys feel free to tell me what you consider wife material. I'm not trying to be dirty or anything like that here. But hardworking, if I'm going to be married to someone for who knows how long, if they give off a vibe that they're lazy, don't want to work, don't really take pride in their work, well, that's a big turn off, and I don't think would be considered wife material. And another one I listed here was respectful. Um, um, well, what can I say here? That's a good one, hon. But you know what? I'm not stupid. I'm going to talk about the good things here. And when we talk about wife material, we're talking about good qualities. So my wife is not here beside me because it's so cold in this living room. She is in the bedroom, staying warm with our imitation fireplace heater, and I'm out here shivering, but respectful. What does that mean? If she is respectful to, well, her parents, for one thing. Um, I know as a big football fan, I know that when our coaches go visit players, these young kids, they're high school kids, and we're going to invest a lot of time recruiting them and a lot of money in them. Um, when Tom Osborne was our coach, our legendary coach, he saw a player be disrespectful to his mother. And that was the end of that recruiting visit. And that was the end of that kid's chance to play at what was at that time, the mid 90s, the top football program in college football. But when he saw this player be disrespectful to his mother, that was it. That's not the type of character that he was looking for in a football player. So that was it. And I think that's great, So, if I saw my wife be disrespectful to her parents, I mean, if I was dating her, I think I would be looking somewhere else. Dave K, thank you for joining us tonight. I'm sorry I missed you there earlier. Respectful to parents, respectful to siblings, respectful to strangers. You know, I mean, I want her to be consistent. If she's one way in these surroundings, I want her to be the same way um, in those other surroundings with all people. So consistent. I want to do an upload, so I want to have some things to say because I know with these live streams, within 24 hours after you do them, they may not get watched much at all. So it makes sense to do an upload, condense it so it's much smaller and can get watched. So Big E says, that's it, Bob. It's all about the character and matching that up along with the chemistry between the two. Um, Character and chemistry. So yeah, you don't want to be with someone that and just kind of force the issue, force the chemistry when there is none. Um, I think when people see my wife and I together, we probably look like we've been together longer than we have. I think we have good chemistry. I think a lot of that was there when I first met her. I mean, I've never felt weird or strange or nervous around her. I've always felt comfortable with her. It's almost anticlimactic when I met her because we did get along well. Now we have our struggles, just like anyone else, and we're going to work to handle those well. And but yeah, you don't want to force chemistry. And character is, you guys like me, we're going to marry someone we're attracted to. That's a given. But that character, honestly, now is going to get better if you treat her right. I mean, that character is going to get better and better and better because it's part of who she is. Her looks is what she looks like then at the prime of her life, but that character can get even stronger. So I think respectful is a good wife material characteristic. Season it with realism. Talking about chemistry and realism. Um, Big E says, know that 18-year-olds don't find 55-year-old men guapo. 18 and 55, yeah. Very, very young woman, 55-year-old man. Um, and Dave is guapo equals dollars. Well, but Dave, uh, the that is something that the man has to have character too. He could be as wealthy as Donald Trump, and that doesn't mean she's going to be happy with him. Pardon me while I get rid of that pop up there. Some pop ups I see 50 times a day. I just it's like they're just forcing me to buy something. Um, yeah, be realistic. Um, and there's a lot of those. There's some things you have to be realistic about. As I've said before, you're going to look for a Filipina. You're looking for someone that is wanting to improve their life and their family's life. I think that's great. I have no problem with that. In fact, I want to be a part of that solution. I don't think that's being a simp. I think that's called being a good husband. I think that's called loving my wife. Some people may disagree with that, but I want to be as generous to her as I possibly can. But um, yeah, again, you talk about in your example there, Biggie, 37 years personally. And again, I don't want to get into legalism here, but beyond 30 years, I think has a greater chance of not working out for one reason or another. Um, but I think what even with a large age gap, I think it just comes down to how you treat her, and that's why my videos on age gap relationships are all about how I treat her, and she would see that as character, and she would respond to that the way that a woman would respond to a man that she knows really, truly cares about her. Yeah, and Hank says similar about the money. It is attractive, and a woman in America is attracted to a man who can take care of her. A woman in I don't know how many countries there are in this world, a couple hundred, some of them never heard of. And I'll bet you there the women are looking for someone that can provide for them. That's a good thing. If you're a woman that's only natural and for uh, she's going to do the best that she can with her options. Filipina is not a mercenary. She's not stupid. I mean, she should make a wise choice. She should evaluate the character of the person she's going to give her life to. And a lot of times the men they marry are not, they're not wealthy, they're not rich, but they do want to take care of her, and they're able to, and they're willing to let them work. That's part of it too. They're able to leave them something when they die, which is what you would do anyway with the wife here in the United States. I have no issue with that at all. Yeah, they want a better life. Who doesn't? Big E says a factory worker here in the Philippines, Cebu, I assume you're talking about $6 a day net. And I've heard, yeah, I was going to say $10 a day in a place like Manila, and that's probably gross. So the net would be, in that ballpark. Everything costs more here. Do the math doesn't add up. So they look to the West. And I hope, and this is one of the things I want people to get out of my channel, is treat her right. I mean, all you got to do is be good to one person, one woman, and you will be rewarded greatly for that. Now, the guys that are not into this and they're just using women, these guys are going to grow. I can't say grow up because they're adults, but they will grow old and realize nobody loves them. Nobody cares for them. There's nobody there for them. Um, and like I said earlier in this live stream, that relationship should go stronger as time goes by, and I just think that's a wonderful thing. I really do. I'm sure anybody that's watched my videos understands that. I think the benefits And the satisfaction, the fulfillment comes from marriage to one woman, not playing the field. Um, Dave K says they need to improve their life. They do, and I want to help. Hank says, I'm 32 in good shape, so I specifically sought out a professional Philippine in her 20s, pardon me, which I did find, who can earn a lot in the US, not just work as a cashier. Yeah, and she'll probably appreciate that. When you work as a cashier, you got to deal with what? A lot of disgruntled people, and you might even get robbed. You know, so yeah, with more education, better type of job, safer, better environment, more money. So you're looking for someone professional, probably went to college. 32 and 20 is very reasonable, Big E. I know a guy at work. He was 37, and I believe his Filipina was 25, and they got married. Um, Worked with my wife, and when he knew that we met each other on Christian Filipina, he joined, met this woman, went steady with her. Now they're married. Now she's been here for probably a year, and she's working. As far as I know, they're fine. And so they're 37 and 25, which is the same as um, 32 and 20. 12-year age difference. Now 16, 18, yeah, more problematic. Now I'm not. Again, I'm not. I did in the videos on age gap. I'm not going to be legalistic. I just think you have to be a little more careful if there's something like a 40-year age gap. Um, but that's between them. They just have to make the best decisions they can make, and live with the consequences, and be as prepared as they can. Big E says, don't get me wrong, if I found that there was a gold mine in my property, I would dig it up. The fact you can get a better, smarter, and hotter woman here has reasons for it. But who cares? Grab it. And that's what a man wants. We want to marry someone that's attractive. We don't want those looks, though, to be it. Because if that's all she's got, she may find other guys attractive that are much more attractive. And so you want character, somebody that is attractive, that are much more attractive. And so you want character, somebody that is to, fulfill her role in the marriage and isn't looking around. And to me, that would be character. Mimi, good morning from Hatyai, Thailand. Hope all on the channel are fine. We're doing okay. Mimi, I hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining us tonight. Parabiology says I'm 47, good looking, good shape, looking at early 20s girls. Tom Cruise is older than me. Parabiology, you're 47. I know other guys sub to this channel and they're in their 40s, probably 30s. But today, my age bracket, which was once a month ago 5 different age brackets on my channel, is now like the 55 to 64. It says everybody is in that group, and I just can't believe that, because I think some of the guys like yourself are younger, and 21% are women, and I'm sure they're probably not 55 to 64. So sometimes these YouTube analytics don't make sense to me. Thank you for thumbs up number 10. I think last week we got 12 or 13, and then the next day it was down to 9, and that's where it stayed. So again, sometimes these statistics hard to figure out. So Hank says, do you do your own stunts too? Parabiology says, I surf and practice martial arts. So he does. Not one to mess with. Parabiology, I can kick higher than my head and break boards still at 47. If I try to kick something higher than my head, something would break. That's for sure. It would be my back. That is for sure. Phil Phoenix is on his way out. Thanks for being here, Phil Phoenix. I appreciate that very much. Enjoy the rest of your day in Phoenix. Big E says, oh, yeah, it has to add all those things. In the abstract, you can get a package much more than what's available in the USA. USA mid 50s, looking at a woman with an ankle as big as my waist. And surly. Surly is not good. And bitter. Bitter is not good. Um, Cheerful. You say bitter, big E, and the opposite of that, I guess, would be cheerful. I'm going to write that down here for the next upload I do on this topic. Yeah, I don't want someone walking around with a chip on their shoulder or bitter and complaining. In Filipinas, often are seen as, not that way. And then it's very attractive and very much marriage material. So I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah, why not get a better package if that's available, even though they don't have pure motives. And if you mean by pure motives, not financial strings attached, um, well, it's still, for a woman, it's still pure. That's what she needs. She's not going to marry someone that's going to give her a worse standard of living, and you wouldn't want your daughter to marry somebody and have a worse. Well, if it's just all about the money, then I would say there's no affection being shown. There's little intimacy. Um, there's little cheerfulness. There's little plans for the future, and making your food and keeping a nice house and hugging and snuggling and stuff like that. I think you could tell if the marriage was all about just the money. And in that sense, yeah, it would not be pure. Big E says the love will grow if it's cultivated and you pick the right person. Absolutely. And even with the right person, you'll want to cultivate that relationship. This is why, you don't want to get married and then ignore her or start to coast. Put it in neutral. You still need to say things. I say every morning to my wife, I love you, before I put one foot on the carpet, and it's just all the time, consistent. I want her to expect that. If I ever roll out of bed and don't kiss her and say I love you, then I want her to know there's something wrong. What happened? Bob didn't say he loved me. Um, so there's just millions of little things you can do and be consistent about to cultivate a relationship, and then it will grow. So I agree with you. Okay, Big E says, to me, the opposite of bitter is sweet. I deal with sweet females in the Phils daily. Yeah, cheerful. I'll write down sweet while we're taking notes here, because I've said it myself. A lot of guys find Filipinas very sweet and caring and very endearing quality. Marriage material, in other words. And where did we go here? Okay, Big E says, most of the ones I know are sweet in their demeanor. And none of us have any more or have any pure motives anymore. We're talking about the damaged goods brigade. And yeah, let's not look for perfection in her. And we want someone that's attractive. She wants someone that's going to provide for her. And that's just the way it is. Parabiology, Big E and Sabu, an ankle as big as your waist, rolling on the floor. Yeah. Well, that's not attractive, that's for sure. But what are some other qualities that are attractive here before we lose? Now I want to keep going here if you guys are enjoying this. I also jotted down here, loves children. Loves children. if I was dating someone and they said, "Oh, children, just pain in the butt. I don't want children. They'll interfere with my plans for my life." To me, that's not marriage material. So, also, somebody that honors her parents, somebody that, and that's just a biblical principle: honor your father and your mother. And it would be terrible to find somebody you want to marry and they're not respectful or honoring their parents. Big red flag there, and not one that's often mentioned. But if you come across that, that's a big red flag. Big E says, "I mean, us, we're all a disaster and thankful to find someone that is good for us." Yeah, we are. We're broken. We're fallen. That doesn't mean we can't be good to someone. As a Christian, I know anything, any changes I've made in my life, which have been plenty, have been because of God. I'm not the person I was years and years and years ago. Um, Very angry young man. I mean, frustrated, but yeah, I think I've simmered down a lot through marriage, and that's a combination of God's grace and my wife. Um, but we are broken, and we don't want to look for somebody that's not broken because they will be. Some other qualities here: marriage minded, thinks of others, which was brought up earlier. Big E says, having just been in the United States, I was stunned at the opulence level and the general unhappiness quotient, even with the opulence. And you're right, Big E. I just heard that mentioned today at lunch in the break room. I think somebody was, not that I was eavesdropping, they were talking loud enough for the whole table to hear, but they're talking about, I think, their daughter, how they were so miserable and unhappy. And they said, their husband works and works and works and gives them all the material things that they could ever want, and they're miserable. And so, yeah, you're right. I mean, that what it's almost like, I mean, it just doesn't, it can't satisfy. Nothing wrong with having. King Solomon was the wealthiest man in the world, and nothing wrong with having wealth. God gave it to him. In fact, God is the one that gives us the ability to earn wealth. Nothing wrong with that. That's why I don't like all the gambling and that's going up in the Philippines and these lottos and stuff like that. Uh, the goal in life is not to be rich, and it just isn't. So I wrote down here, keeps a nice house. In other words, I guess if her apartment, if you're living here in the States and where she has a house of her own and looks like a pigsty, um, that's a no-no for me. Keeps a nice house, cooks, likes to cook, loves to cook. I think that's part of being wife material. For me, it would be. Big E says, I see grinding poverty daily here in the Philippines, but as a general rule, people just seem happier. And they do. There's no rat race. There's no keeping up with the Joneses. I mean, they may want it, I don't know, but they don't seem to go about bitter and jealous. And it's part of being cheerful. Solomon was a disaster at the end because he multiplied wives. He wasn't supposed to do that. They helped, I guess, in order to please them, he had to do things that God said he was not to do. And he ruined everything. At the end of his life, he ruined everything. In fact, he has chapters in Ecclesiastes talking about all the things in the world that a man could desire, that he could do, that he could experience, that he could possess. All vanity, didn't satisfy. But you're right. Last chapter of his life tells quite a different story. And he was the wisest man that ever lived. and he was not perfect, and he made mistakes. Biggie says there's more to life than more toys, more stuff. You can't tow a U-Haul into the grave. That's true. I think I agree with parabiology. I think that's a good point. It says his foreign wives turned him away from God. And, like I said earlier, one wife, one woman to invest your life in and to please and to respond to you and to have a great relationship. If you've got a good spouse, I think you are, in a way, rich and wealthy. You have what's really important in life if you can find it. And if you can find it, cultivate it, it's a wonderful thing. But you're right, you cannot take it with you. Um, you can't. Now, real quick, biblically, we're really commanded to lay up our treasures in heaven where we can send it ahead and have more and more and more if we invest our life in the right things. Then there will be, not to get into a theological thing, but my pastor agrees with me. So do many others. You know, you can, the ones that give up the most, i.e., their life, martyrs, they won't have a great reward. They gave up their life. They sacrificed everything, and there'll be more wealthy in heaven, but there won't be any jealousy. There won't be any bitterness. There won't be any competition there. They'll be richer depending on how they uh, live their life in this life. And that's got nothing to do with earning salvation. That's not what I am referring to. Yeah, Big E says Solomon is a big time nightmare at the end. Yet he was banging it out with 1,000 women. I think it was like 700 wives, 300 concubines, or something like that. Had more money than any of us could imagine, and was miserable. Filipinas, usually Christian. You want to that would be something for me personally as a Christian would for wife material would be, of course, to look for somebody that was a Christian. And even with that, you have to ask some questions to get to know them. You can ask questions along those lines too. Filipinos can actually bring you towards God if they're good ones. Yep, and a good man can do likewise. Yeah, foreign, not of Solomon's faith, and they may have been wives from other parts of the world, though, in order to, I guess, solidify deals with the kings over there. But he was not to multiply wives, and he did. Yeah, I wasn't following his own advice. He just, I was going to say he did something very unwise. He was the wisest man in the world. That doesn't mean he was God. That doesn't mean he was omniscient. God gave him that wisdom. He just gave it to him because he prayed for what was it? God offered him, give him everything you want. I'll give you anything you want. And he said, give me wisdom to rule these people. And God, or no, what did he say? No, God gave him the wisdom to rule the people, but because he didn't ask for riches, he gave him riches too. Yeah, not about nationality, more about faith. A few more here, since we're down to only three of us here. Maybe it's so dark in this room nobody can see me, and so I don't know. But another characteristic here that I find that would be wife material would be cares about her appearance. Again, that doesn't mean she has to look high maintenance. It doesn't have to mean she looks vain. But a woman that cares about her appearance without going overboard. And you could throw in here her clothes. I do have a video I'll do one of these days on um, clothes that a woman would wear, because I think there's some red flags that you can find in in how she dresses, very possibly. But if she cares about her appearance, that's good. If she's financially responsible, now that's different than being frugal, and not being wasteful with money. But if she's financially responsible, in other words, once she has money, she's earning her own money. She she's good with it. She's open to saving, which is not something that's an everyday occurrence for a Filipina. But she's responsible, and she's willing to learn about financial concepts, and she's willing to learn about patience and saving. My wife has her own 401k. Because she can put in a certain percent and get matched the same percent. And so, like our financial advisor says, that's free money. So you do that year after year after year after year after year, and it adds up, and it's tax deferred. So financially responsible is wife material to me. Also, sense of humor. A lot of guys want to see a sense of humor. Again, like anything else, I don't see the need to go overboard with that. Just someone that doesn't take everything so seriously, someone that can laugh at herself, because you don't want to be married to someone you're going to be uptight all the time because she's uptight all the time. Having a sense of humor, someone that can be silly, I think that's a good thing. How about this one? I mean, you guys willing to throw some out here? I don't have them all down, and I just took a few minutes to jot some down. Doesn't hold grudges. Doesn't hold grudges. I think that would be, well, obviously important when you're married. If you plan on being married for the rest of your life, you're gonna make each other upset, but you have to be able to make up. And if you hold grudges, if you keep holding the past over them, then you're holding grudges, and it's going to be hard to move forward. It's going to be hard to cultivate the relationship. So, someone that doesn't hold grudges is wife material. Someone that smiles, it's usually a good sign of what's inside. Someone that is patient. How about that? That matters to me. It's not easy, but I think patience in a woman is a sign of maturity, sign of being marriage minded. Consistent. That was something I got here from the live stream tonight. Someone that's cheerful, someone that's not bitter, somebody that's sweet, and those are things that I would consider wife material. Now I thought about this because as a few more people log on here, is because I heard that reading someone's comment, wife material. So I thought, what does that mean, wife material? Are they talking only about sexual things? Are they talking about more than that? As I've listed here, probably 15 different things, and I know there's a lot more than that. And that would be considered wife material. And if you guys are married, feel free to share what you think is really important, in your marriage on her end of things. And if you're looking for a wife, Filipina, or otherwise, what do you consider wife material? Big E says, I'll tell you one thing I found, excuse me, and it was huge. Someone who isn't easy to argue, someone that's not quick to argue. Big E, someone that's not argumentative. Nacky Dave checking in from Cleveland, Ohio. Thanks, Nacky Dave, for being here tonight. A little dark here in the Love Beyond the Sea living room. Big E says I can be an intense person. Intense people can lead to sparks, just someone not easily angered or easy to nag. And you're right. I mean, when you got to live with somebody, you're going to get on each other's nerves somehow. That's 1 Corinthians 7 talks about troubles of the flesh. Because of that, Paul said, be better. Um, he said he would advise or prefer not marrying, but he was not talking about everybody. He was talking about himself and anybody like himself that had the very rare um, gift of singleness, which I believe is the ability to be single, um, live without sex, so they can be single. Otherwise, you get married, you're going to have to, there are going to be some sparks now and then. And I can be intense too, Big E, and I've really learned since being married um, that I need to consider how my actions impact my wife. When you're single, you can kind of be a bull in a china shop sometimes, and you can get away with it because you don't have to go home and live with anybody. Um, but if you are, you got to learn to channel that intensity into like your work, for example, or your workouts at the gym or something you're working on. But um, it takes more finesse, I think, in a relationship. But yeah, someone not easily angered. If you notice that you're dating them, they're not looking to pick a fight. They're not nagging. They're not easily angered. You know, make note of that. Parabiology got to go. Um, you guys, thank you for the live stream. Catch the parts I missed later. And yeah, forgiving. Thank you for that quality here. Talking about what do you consider wife material? What's it look like if you could define it? Someone say, well, they're not wife material. They are wife material. What does that mean? Just trying to, put a face to that. And I agree. Forgiveness. Someone that is forgiving. They can go into that can tie into uh, where did I have about not holding grudges. But I'll write that down here because there may be more to it than that. Thank you very much. That's a good one. Oh, J Bud, am I practicing for brownouts? J Bud 5000. Thanks for being here tonight, J Bud. Well, I did get some experience in Surigao back in January. Excuse me. No, it's just that I've fallen on hard times here at Love Beyond the Sea. If you look at Social Blade and the numbers kind of bounce up and down, no additional subs in 9 days, and only one in the last 11 days. So income's not coming in, so we've got to save some money here. We got to turn the thermostat down. That's why I'm wearing this cap. I got feet warmers on. I would wear gloves, but it's really hard to operate this mouse when you got gloves on. So that's what we have to do. We got to cut costs here on Love Beyond the Sea, but we'll just keep at it. And I have no intention of giving up, and just try to keep coming up with different things. Just be myself from my perspective. Try to accomplish what I want to accomplish here. Help people know about understanding Filipinas and the culture and how that would relate to marriage and just basic things I've learned since being married for over 4.5 months now. May 10th. May 10th will be 5 years, which is hopefully I'm still alive by then. I don't know about these coughs. I just get the longest coughs. I'm taking codeine. I'm taking something the doctor gave me at night. I already went through the antibiotics. Nothing. Just doesn't help. So no brownout here. I just got to cut down on expenses, J Bud. Need some water for the fire. Don't have a fireplace here, but that'd be one way to save on the electricity. You're only kidding about piping and dog rooster karaoke sounds. I know you were. Um, I can't fool anybody. We're back here in the United States of America. Just had to do things differently tonight. Almost want to be in sackcloth and ashes with the low sub count lately, but it is what it is. Just admit it, try to do what I can do to make it better, and just keep going. Brownout training. Well, I'll tell you what, Jay Bud, when there really is a brownout, you cannot see the hand in front of your face. It's scary dark. That happened to us in Surigao. Nacky Dave, we're here in Nebraska, right in the middle of the country, United States of America. I know Nebraska sounds like Japanese or something, but it's United States. This is our home. We own this house. Um, so that means that when we retire in the Philippines, we'll have to sell this house. That means we'll have to sell everything in this house, and that's a big thing to have to do one of these years. When the time comes. You grew up in Missouri, not too far away. I've been to Kansas City a bunch of times. I mentioned my Royals, my team growing up in the early 70s, Kansas City Royals, and World Series champions, 1985. No, thanks to, in part to a blown call at first base, and I think Jorge Orta hit the ball and was thrown out by a mile. Was called safe, and Royals won the World Series. Then they had to go to 2015 when we got married. Won the World Series again, but there's a team that has to be frugal. They cannot spend like the New York Yankees. That's for sure. So, yeah, we're coming here from the U.S. talking tonight. What do you consider wife material? That's it. And so I think most of the people online here have heard this list, and I think we'll uh, try to taper down here tonight. And the things I mentioned here that I agree with, what would be considered wife material: frugal, submissive, hardworking, affectionate, respectful, loves children, honors parents, thinks of others, keeps a nice house, cooks, cares about her appearance, financially responsible, no vices, sense of humor is nice, doesn't hold grudges, smiles, patience, is patient, consistent, not two-faced, not trying to impress by being someone they aren't. Just be themselves. I guess it's another little aspect I could put in here. Preparing for a future upload here. Cheerful, sweet, forgiving, be themselves, things like that. Aaron Taylor here tonight, looking sporty in the cap. Yeah, this cap was in Japan here recently. Blondes, brunettes, redheads, skinny, fat, funny, serious, etc. J Bud here is very easy to please when it comes to marriage material. For someone he is attracted to, that's a given. I have been told in my life to not look for someone that I guess I would be attracted to. Look for someone homely, because they make better wives. Well, no. Physical appearance does not equate to being a good wife. Being beautiful does not equate to being a bad wife. And being plain Jane, does not mean they're going to have great character. Go ahead and look for someone that's attractive. You're going to do that anyway. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just natural. But where us guys, J Bud, can get into trouble is that's all we focus on is I got to have a blonde. That's it. got to have a blonde, got to have short hair, got to have long hair, got to have curly hair, redheads, get this pop up out of the way. And physical, we all have these physical things that we look for, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just the what I would consider character qualities that would make somebody truly wife material. Since this channel is about finding a wife, um, to do that, you kind of have to have some idea of what to look for. So, yeah, the cap here is, it's just cold down here, Aaron, um, because I haven't had a new, I may have had a subscriber or two in the last 9 days. I don't know, but it's the same. It's still 450 like it was 9 days ago. Only had 11 days. So just have to save on some money here, turn down the heat. Times are rough. Eating less portions, until we can get more subs going here. J Bud says opposites attract, but I disagree. I want a woman just as tacky as me. One person told me once, and this was a woman, and it was considered to be a very wise woman. She said to me, opposites attract, but they make poor marriage partners. In her opinion, commonality was more important. A guy could say, wasn't that kind of dull, kind of boring? I want something exciting, somebody different. I kind of agree with her. Commonality. Now, there's something to be said for spice of life, but maybe that's more important in dating. I don't know. Today, it's a lot different. I would tend to agree with this person, this woman, that the more things you have in common, probably the better chance of success you have. Now, what song was that? I know some Paula Abdul songs. Opposites Attract, was that the name of the song? Too bad you can't hum the melody for me here, J Bud. Paula Abdul, she was attractive. I had a crush on her back in the 80s? Country, not Paula Abdul. So opposites attract. I probably heard the song, but I don't know which song that was. Nacky Dave asks the question, what is your opinion of astrology, astrological matches? Nacky Dave, I don't know what people see in that. I don't know what they base their decisions on, but my opinion would be that I don't know how it would have any impact. I don't believe that you can. I don't believe that. Before I be careful, I know there are some. I think there's a respected biblical teacher, no longer alive, who believed that a lot could be told from the stars, as far as I don't know. I don't quite understand him, but this guy was very intelligent, very well thought of, and it may have been that he thought he may just known a lot about this that I don't. There's a lot of history told, almost like in story form, by the how do you pronounce this? Astrological signs, and I don't know much about that. But my guess would be, as far as Libra with Libra, or maybe Libra with Sagittarius, that sort of thing. I don't know. I don't buy that. I mean, because if they're saying there's a stereotype, well, Libras are this way, and they this other type of astrological sign, it's a good match for them. I don't know. I would tend to believe there's probably nothing to that myself. So the answer to your question, I would not look at that as being something that helped me determine. I just, look for her actions and ask lots of questions. And if you're getting consistent answers, then that's who they are. Um, Ask lots of questions. I have 3 videos on questions to ask your Filipina to get to know her. At the early stage to gauge compatibility before you marry her. And I do have a one that I haven't done yet on questions to ask her after you've been married. There's a lot of good questions to ask your spouse after you've been married. Big E talks about Deuteronomy 18:10 through 11. Country, okay. Yeah, I don't have that. Excuse me, that reference there in front of me. Apparently talking about astrology. Oh, Confederate Railroad, trashy women. I like my women on the trashy side. I've heard that one before. Well, he may like his women on the trashy side, but probably won't want to marry them. That's the thing. Like I said earlier, you might say, "Oh, this woman's good for dating or whatever," but I wouldn't want to marry her. You know, um, there's a difference, I think, between who you would date, who you would marry. Oh, okay, text me the song. If it, yeah, that's I've heard of that. I don't know if that's a group, but yeah, I like my women on the trashy side. I've heard that song before. Birthdays, Nacky Dave, we might be the same. Let me know. I'm a Libra, October 4th. My wife's November 2. So maybe there's something to that. But we do get along well, but we want to get along well. Even if somebody said, "Oh, this is a good match. That's why your relationship is going well." There's more to it than that. I mean, we try. We try to, you know, overcome our arguments quickly, just like the Bible says. Be be ye angry. You're going to be angry. Be ye angry and sin not. Let not the sun go down on your wrath. So ideally, you don't go to bed angry. Ideally, if you are still kind of steamed at each other, you agree to talk about it tomorrow. You're going to talk about it. We're going to settle this tonight. Got to go to bed, but we're gonna deal with this tomorrow. Promise. Libra man with Scorpio woman. Is that a good sign? If it's not, I don't want to hear. But if it is, let me know. I didn't know actually that my wife was a Scorpio. There's a lot I don't know about her, at least from asking her questions. Information. There's a lot I don't know about her, and we talked about asking her a lot of questions when we were in the Philippines on the planes, but never got around to doing that. So yeah, there's a lot for me to learn, but right now we're husband and wife, so we just have to learn how to get along with each other, and so far so good. 5 years, May 10th. Not bad. 30-year drought, Guinness Book of World Records holder. I have a trophy here. I can't reach up there, but it's from the Guinness Book of World Records. 30 years alone, without a girlfriend. Now I should have asked them for cash instead, because I can't do much with that trophy. But now, been married for 5 years, and I have forgotten all about those years alone. So I still have time to enjoy that marriage with her. Uh, um, Naki, I'm not complaining. So maybe you're right about that. No complaints here. No complaints here. So I got married young enough to still be able to enjoy it. And this little woman has made me forget about being single. It's like I don't even know that I was, even though it was such a dominating part of my life and my thoughts and my dreams. It's bad when you've seem like you've been struggling all day being single, and then you go to bed and you dream about it. That doesn't help the way you. That doesn't help wake up on the right side of the bed in the morning. And I just don't dream about that now. Jay Bud says, being MGTOW, I have to warn guys about the family law attorneys, so choose very carefully. And Jay Bud has helped me to understand some things about MGTOW, and especially the family law attorneys. How they want to get their hooks into you, can drag things out, and just bleed you dry. And terrible thing. That's part of the risk of marriage is. What damage can they do if you don't marry someone or if you marry someone that's not marriage material? A lot of damage. So that's what I wanted to talk tonight about. I hope you found this topic interesting. We could talk about Tampo, we could talk about monthly expenses in the Philippines, but I'd like to talk about some things that haven't been, over chewed, like what do you consider wife material? Am I a simp? What is a simp? That was the video. I'm going to put that video from Saturday in the controversial collection because I had some trolls, and no, I am not a simp. Maybe I look like one, maybe I sound like one, but I am not a simp. Naki Dave, which province and city your Asa is from? Was from Davao, and we're in the province, or from the province, and that's all I'm going to say about that. But she was, I married her. She was in Davao, which was very fortunate for me because it's not that hard to get to. Davao at that time, 2015, I had read, was a very progressive city. Don't think anything has changed. And they've got an airport there, which makes it easy to get to. I know some of these men that have met their Filipina had to, really go through an experience to find where she lives. She was way out in the middle of nowhere. So for us, it was easy for us to meet. Jay Bud says, old-fashioned traditional values over hip, cool, feminist, ultra-educated time bomb. And I think that's what you meant there. Ultra-educated time bomb, yeah. Old-fashioned. Now, how come I didn't mention that? Thank you very much. I'm just taking some notes from you gentlemen on the live stream version I'll do from this. Hopefully it'll get more views because the upload version, because they do better than the live streams as far as views. Unless you're really, really, big timer. Old fashioned, yeah. I mean, that's what I wanted. What's old fashioned? Well, she takes pride in her house, her home, the appearance. Probably could add she's somewhat hospitable. She enjoys, not all the time, but enjoys having people come over. She loves her home. She likes being there. She doesn't dread being at home. She can stay home and watch a movie and enjoy that evening in with her husband. Like I said, hardworking and submissive, and I almost hate to use that word because people have some different ideas of what it means. It does not mean being a slave, a doormat, or anything like that. When I go to work, I have to be submissive to my employer. I'm going to work my butt off. I'm going to do the best that I can. I'm going to stay there till we're done. I'm going to get my work finished. I like that. I'm going to be respectful to them. I may not, agree with everything my boss says or does, but I am to do what they tell me to do, and I am to respect their position, and that's what I mean. When I'm talking about that. But yeah, I agree with you, Jay Bud. Old-fashioned traditional values. Um, I agree with that. Big E and Cebu, the dark Love Beyond the Sea version is cool. You like this? Well, maybe I'll do it next time. No problem with that. We can save some money. However, we can turn the lights back on if we can just start getting these subscriptions rolling. And of course, here we are, 1 hour and 50 minutes into the live stream, and I haven't said to subscribe to Love Beyond the Sea. That's my problem. That's my fault. I don't plug the channel. So please subscribe to Love Beyond the Sea. You don't like this? You prefer the brighter living room scene? Well, then maybe I can switch up once in a while. Yeah, we need a gimmick. I told my wife, hon, if you come out here, and she's locked herself in the bedroom, I guess. This is why the lights are going to be off, and it is a little bit chilly here, but we're in the basement. This is why I'm wearing a cap. Any more gimmick ideas? I couldn't go on top of Mount Apo, Big E, and do a live stream up there. Just would not have a good connection. I think you dropped only because it seems like you weren't as connected for a month or so. I was in the Philippines. Here's the thing, Big E. When I was in the Philippines, and it was way up there. Views every 48 hours was 600, 605. Now it's been as low as 175, 180. That's over what, 2/3, something like that. The subscriptions are way down. The watch minutes are way down. Watch minutes were like 21,000 minutes in 28 days. Now 20,000 watch minutes in a month is enough to be monetized if you have 1,000 subscribers and you do it all the time. And now we're down to what, depending on which metric, 14 and a half or 17,000. That's a big drop off. I put out a video every day. So I know when you put out a video every day and you're in the Philippines, more people are going to watch. It's going to jack all the numbers up. And then YouTube is going to compare you to the last 28 months. Well, it's like your stocks. If you had a really stellar month, you gain 30% in the stock market. Well, chances are next month not going to do as good when you compare it to that month. And you expect that. Stock market, you're going to have this fluctuation. It's just kind of, and then flatlined. And I'm not worried about it. I do have people that appreciate the channel. And I was putting out a video every day. I get lots of help. Mr. E, who designed the WordPress blog site out of the kindness of his heart, puts the videos on there and takes the scripts. Somebody asked me, why do you script out the uploads? Because I have a WordPress blog site and they have to be on article form. So I have the article, I might as well, for the WordPress site blog, and I might as well use it for the videos. I can also peel off certain parts of it called tweets and put that on the Love Beyond the Sea Twitter site. Then you don't even have to watch a video, just roll through the tweets. Now, I haven't done that since before we went to the Philippines, so I'll have to get back to doing that. Right now, I've just been putting the videos on there because who knows who's going to see it, when they're going to see it. I got a lot of things in place to help this channel from people that care and they support it. So, and I get the occasional email from somebody voicing their support. So I appreciate that. We'll just keep doing what we can do. But in the Philippines, it kind of showed what the potential could be because it's hard to keep up with the comments when we were over there. So being there full time, hopefully, we'll really see things grow, but we got to keep going. And I've got, like I said, probably 210 articles already written. They're not on the blog because I won't put them on the blog till I do the video, but you know, there's plenty of inventory, um, for the future. So yeah, hopefully it will be. So I'm kind of poking fun at myself, but yeah, it does matter. It does matter to me because I'm not doing this for fun. A few gimmicks. Okay. You can do the show naked with sock and a ribbon around you. I could, Big E. I could. But the trolls would come out and then I would get banned for like 2 months. And I can't survive not putting out videos for 2 months. Um, I'm already a hit in the troll community, believe it or not. You know why? Excuse me. Somebody with 450 subscribers can get negative press like people with 40,000, 50,000, 80,000, 10 or 15,000. I don't know. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe I don't want to read too much into that. But yeah, I'm known in the troll community for whatever reason. That's okay, I guess. But no, that would be. I'm not comfortable. I would eat balut before I did that for a gimmick. But I appreciate the suggestion, Big E. I really do. Naki Dave, are you near any Asian markets up there? There's one in Omaha. That's what it's called, Asian Market, if that's what you meant. And that's where Aiza goes if she's looking for particular food, Filipino food. That's where we go for sky flakes, Filipino favorite for crackers. I don't know if they have any salt in them. If they do, it's very little. Actually, Aiza packs um, sky flakes for me for work. I like sky flakes, but I don't like all the food. But um, yeah, there's a place in Omaha where we can get sky flakes and all kinds of excellent Filipino food. Yeah, I am. I can quit here pretty soon, sweetie. Um, it's about that time to wrap it up, finish up the odds and ends on the channel, take a shower, go to bed, go to work. Um, but yeah, Asian market. Big E, it seemed like I disappeared. No, I was there. I know you didn't go away. It just seemed like it was a disconnect. No, I was doing walking videos, frugal. Um, I was trying to do something every day. Um, I think if you can do a video every day for 6 months, it helps your videos and to get ranked, and therefore your channel to get ranked, which is hard to do. Otherwise, you got to get to 1,000 subscribers, and then you're supposed to be going downhill a little bit. In other words, it's easier to pick up momentum when you get to that 1,000 mark, which I don't have. So maybe one of these days. So no, I was still around. Naki Dave, I did put up videos from the Philippines, not in a particular playlist, but yes, Big E, the naked sock idea is out. I don't think I even need to consult with Aiza about that one. Or the U2 standards of decency. Yeah, just Naki Dave, the playlist, if you know how to access a playlist on YouTube, in the channel, there should be different things to click on. There's a playlist called Just Us, which usually has my wife and I. And some of those are from the Philippines. Another playlist called All in the Fil-Am, which is not a misspelling, it's a play on words, All in the Fil-Am, which will show other relatives like my mother, my aunt, some of her family in the Philippines. But between those two playlists, you'll see us in the Philippines. I did some videos from the Philippines walking around the area. Even did one from where we got married, which was really cool. One of my favorite places in all the world. So yeah, now I know Big E has all my 400 some videos in his mind, burned into his mind. But Naki Dave, if you're not familiar, yeah, I did do some videos from the Philippines. I try to do one a day from there. Absolutely. Well, yeah, check those out and learn more about Love Beyond the Sea. And my wife here, you probably can't see her because it's dark. And there she is taking care of the way the place looks. So it's very nice. I know it looks like a ghost passing through, but that was my wife. So very brief appearance there. And she's not, oh, thanks for the thumbs up. I think we just hit a high water mark with 12. Works both directions. And which is this in reference to, Big E? Sometimes I can't talk and think at the same time. Works both directions. What did you mean by that? So yeah, check out the videos. Could use all the help I can get right now. 13 thumbs up. I can't believe it. 13 thumbs up tonight. Unbelievable. Now, it wouldn't surprise me. I check in the morning and some of those are gone. That's what happened last week. I lost 4 thumbs up overnight. Wow. Almost fell out of my chair there with excitement. 13 thumbs up. So, yeah, anybody, please subscribe to Love Beyond the Sea, Help for Foreigners, looking for Filipinas, women from the Philippines, learn about the culture and how that relates to a relationship. I got lots of playlists. I know it's painstaking to scroll through all the videos, but maybe the playlists can help make that process a little bit more condensed. Why not do local videos too? Well, you mean like I don't know what you mean by local videos. I don't know how interesting life from Nebraska is, especially if my wife is not comfortable being in those videos. She says she's not comfortable. She always does a great job. Every time she's on here, she does a great job. All about our place. Well, there's a little bit of a privacy issue there, especially with my wife. So I want to be respectful of that. Believe me, if we're living in the Philippines and not working 6 days a week, we have time for all kinds of videos. Especially if I had 1,000 subs, I could do live from a phone, and we could go to Mount Apple. We could go all over the place and do live videos. Oh, you're seeding your state? I don't think that'd be all that exciting. We were thinking about one time of going to this town in Nebraska that's a population of 1. It's a registered town, population 1, smallest town in the entire United States. And I'm not sure if the only resident there is alive still, because the video, you can find this on YouTube. I don't remember what it's called. But like 4 years ago or so, they were still alive. But then we found out how far away it was, like 5 hours. And I thought, might make an interesting video, but 5 hours traffic each way, I didn't want to do that. I'm not sure how, Nebraska is not the most exciting place, and I don't know. It seems to me that often if the video doesn't mention Filipina, then it's hit or miss. uh, whether it's going to work. Inspired retired expat, good to see you here tonight. This evening, you're watching on your cell phone. So I can text, but watching on TV through smart TV. Hopefully, that's a big screen, big screen TV. So I count two watching. Well, we need all the help we can get here. Two watching, I'll take it. Yeah, I appreciate your thoughts. I like doing this. I mean, I could buy some subs. That's an option. Problem with that is you buy subs, they don't watch your videos, do they? So they don't increase your watch minutes. Monetization comes down to 1,000 subscribers and maintaining 20,000 watch minutes average per month. That's 4,000 hours a year. Comes about 333.3 hours a month. So that's what you got to do. And then you get monetized, 1,000 subs. I can go out places and do a live, which would be really cool. If in the Philippines, I can do that on Facebook, but remote now. But that wouldn't really help YouTube, I don't think. Or I could invent like I don't know, another 550 fake accounts. That would help. Except I would not have time to be talking to myself through 550 of those. That would be kind of hard. Big E says there are 1,000 Filipinos who want to move to USA for every one American who wants to move to the Philippines. Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, land of opportunity. Here in the United States, for the Philippines, for a man that's looking for a Filipina, he'll go to the Philippines. For a man that's married to a Filipina, he may move there to live there and retire there, which is what we would like to do. And maybe when I turn 62, uh, that would be the earliest, I think. But you're right, Big E. You're right, and I trust your statistics, Big E. Um, but if you're married to someone, you love her. I think retiring in the Philippines is definitely uh, something that you would consider doing. It doesn't mean that you have to. It's just that my wife, that I am married to, that I need to take care of, wants to live there, and so I want to do everything I can for her to go there. If she didn't, we wouldn't, but she does. So that's what we'll be trying to do. Naki Dave, I'm thinking you're born again Christian. Do born again Christians marry Catholic Filipinas? And it's interesting you say that because in the Philippines, born again is a distinction between Catholics and non-Catholics. So do they marry? I'm sure they do. Now, if you're talking about a Christian male marrying a Catholic Filipina, I'm sure they do. Um, so, in my opinion, like I mentioned briefly earlier, even let's say you're a Christian with another Christian, there are questions you should ask, which I did mention in one of my videos, because there are differences in doctrine and beliefs and that affect the way you live. And so there is a distinction between born again Christian and Catholic Christian. So a Catholic Christian would be one that holds to the doctrines of the Catholic Church. A born again Christian would be someone that does not. They are, what do you call it? Orthodox. They're not Catholic. So a Catholic would more likely marry a Catholic. A born again would most likely marry a born again. Now I'm not saying that Catholic Filipinos are not saved or really born again um, Christians. That's why you need to ask questions, because there are Catholics that it all depends. For some people, it's just a title, it's a distinction. But what does it mean? You have to get behind that distinction and find out just what they really believe. Rhett Quigley, thanks for joining us here tonight. So you're saying the Eucharist is God, thus to reject the Eucharist is to reject God. So I don't know, is Eucharist, is that communion? Is that what that means? And thus Protestant reject God himself. You have to be Catholic in order to be pleasing to God. Well, I know there's some that say you have to be Catholic in order to be saved. I know that, like in one of the creeds, it talks about the Catholic Church, whereas another one might call it the Universal Church. But that doesn't. It's not saying that only the Catholic Church, is the true church, or only Catholics are saved. Yeah, and I would disagree. I don't know if you're asking me my opinion, but I would disagree with that. That you'd have to be Catholic in order to be pleasing to God. Now, if I was marrying or looking to marry a Catholic Filipina, and that's what she believed, and I didn't believe that, then obviously that would be a big red flag. I mean, there are red flags potentially in about any area, even in religion. There are potential red flags. So, ask about, what you believe. Like my pastor, and he said, well, ask her, how do you get saved? Person could say, well, I get saved by, doing the rosary and giving money and stuff like that. Whereas I would not believe that that's going to save someone, because salvation is not something you do. And the Catholic Church often seems to come across that way to me. And there are probably some Catholics that know what I'm talking about that don't even hold to every dogma of their own church. So you just need to know what does she really believe, and what can you live with? Inspired retired expat doctrine. Doctrine is important, because you can marry someone and think that things are fine until you find out that because of their doctrine they believe things that you may find intolerable, and you want to discover that before you get married. Because if they say, and again, Rhett, I don't know if you're telling me that Catholics believe they are the only Christians, or if you're telling me that you believe that. But if that is what Catholic believes, then obviously they would not marry or allow a foreign born-again Christian to marry them, because of that doctrine, that it would be, it's like the doctrine of salvation by grace. Somebody that believes that would probably not be wise to marry somebody that believes that you're saved by your works, because it's like oil and water. It just doesn't mix. Naki Dave says there's nothing in the Bible about Mary being divine, and that's true. She's not divine. She said herself that Jesus was her what? Savior. Her son, Jesus, was her Savior. What was he there to save her from? So, which are you saying? They don't say that, if you're referring to me. I was trying to respond to the Catholics are the only Christians, because I have heard that from Catholics. So I don't know if you're saying that's what you believe or that's what Catholics believe, but I most certainly have heard that from other Catholics. But I've heard that from non-Catholics too. This is why doctrine does matter. Not a surprise that non-Catholics lie, but you're not allowed to do that. Big E and Cebu consider yes, but only 0.00063% of Americans retire in the Philippines. It's a tiny number. I believe you. The advice you give the advice you give applies to any race, any nationality, Nigeria, USA, Philippines, Dominican Republic, if that's what DRC is. Maybe it's not all the same. If you're referring to the advice I give, it's not limited to Filipinas. I just want to help men find a wife. Now there are different distinctions within the culture that I have to, that have to do with my marriage, and I have to know about, and I want to understand that I can't change those. But how I treat her is it's this. It would work with anyone. The things that a woman needs, women are women. Christ is the head of the church, not a man, Naki Dave says, and this is most certainly true. Why? Because man is sinful. Peter is, I don't believe was, some say, well, he was the first pope. I don't subscribe to that myself. But Christ is the head of the church. He said, I will build my church, and the gates of hell will not prevail against it. Catholics believe that Christ is the head. You clearly do not understand Catholic doctrine. I admit I don't understand Catholic doctrine. Jesus gave Peter primacy. And again, that's these are things that do matter. And this is why anyone considering marrying a Catholic Filipina or a Seventh-day Adventist Filipina or something else should talk about what they really believe. I do believe doctrine is very important. For example, the doctrine, wives, submit to your husbands in everything. That's important. And everything means everything, always, unless he's asking her to sin. And the Bible says, no, you are to obey God rather than men. But if it's not sinful, she should obey him. Submit to him is another biblical word. That's doctrine. Women often hate that verse because they've been mistreated by men, and men have abused that and not understood what it means, which is why I did a live stream on that whole topic of headship and submission. It's doctrine, but it has to be understood properly. I think you should spin this up to the whole world since it's universal truths. That's all. It's a big compliment. Well, I thank you for the big compliment. And I don't want to get into any controversy here. But the point and the question asked, would a foreign non-Filipina, excuse me, would a man who's not a Catholic marry a Filipina Catholic? He might, but if she is very strong on certain things and he does not agree with that, then he might not marry her. I got to delete multiple notifications here. So you guys, gentlemen, thank you one and all for being here tonight. This is my best night. By the way, I have a newsletter. It's linked way up there at the top. If you want to know when the next live stream is, I'll send it to you in an email, time, date, topic, most recent video, classic video, stuff like that, right into your email. Because sometimes it may not be a Monday, it might be some other day. Okay, yeah, those are universal and should be a worldwide audience since it applies to all. Well, if you're talking about what to look for in a wife and what works for being a good husband and what women want and what men need and want. Um, this is true. I may use the word Filipina because my wife is from the Philippines and um, has all those years of growing up in the Philippines under her belt, and certain things are a certain way there versus another country, and I need to learn those things and appreciate those things. But that goes with, if I was to, I don't know, if you're looking for somebody from the Dominican Republic, well, learn all about that and treat her a certain way, and you should have success. Okay, yeah, I agree, and therefore, what I thought um, was that this would well, again, it would appeal more on a universal level because they're not strictly streamlined for women in the Philippines. It's just that I don't know. I called it love beyond the sea, not love in the Philippines, because it is universal beyond the sea. Beyond the sea, can encompass a lot of other countries too. So hopefully people will see that in time. I just want to help other guys like myself who are alone for so long, not be alone. Invest into a relationship with a woman that would invest into you, and I just think it's the best thing in the world. Have that woman there every night to be with you and live with, and it makes life worthwhile. 1 Peter 3:7, marriage is, it says, as heirs of the grace of life. Um, Grace of life, that's the best there is. Doesn't get better than having a good marriage. The Bible also says if you're with a contentious and um, a woman, it's as rottenness in his bones, to be with a woman that's contending all the time. So, yeah, you don't want that. But, virtuous woman or excellent woman is a crown to her husband. So look for character, like we talked about today. What is your definition of wife material excellence? And you find someone like that, you will not be sorry. So thank you, Big E, for the compliment. Thank you, everybody that was here tonight. It's getting a little bit late. I always try to keep these shorter, just don't seem to be able to do it. I appreciate the trolls not coming out tonight. I thought that might be the case after Saturday's barrage of torrent of trolling. Um, but no, I don't hate the trolls. Um, I don't know if I can convince them of anything, but just gonna try to be as truthful and as honest as I can. So thanks for being here tonight. You guys have a good week. Hopefully you get something out of this. Think about what's important to look for in a wife, and we'll keep making videos, and maybe we'll have the lights on next time. Until then, this is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea.